Good morning, Patrick here from Complete Health. I just wanted to go through and see how many people actually know the real definition of health. That's it. Who actually knows what the real definition of health is? Now, the definition of health is actually set out by a company called the World Health Organization. They're essentially the company that set the boundaries for all of the different health practices across the UK. They're a collaboration of all the results and what are the best practices for practitioners, doctors, surgeons, etc. to follow. So they use the definition as followed. Health is the complete physical, mental and social well-being, and not just merely the absence of disease or symptoms. That is, it's complete physical, mental and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or symptoms. So when we look at the definition of health being complete physical, mental and social, how many people in the world are actually living healthily right now? Because what we're seeing is a huge disconnect on healthy living. Since coronavirus has come around, the amount of social ability has completely dropped. People's ability to physically stay active has completely dropped, and people's mental well-being has been driven to high levels of stress through the roof. So how many people are truly living within that complete physical, mental and social well-being? Now, what we know is that health is a spectrum and not an on and off switch. So the things that we're going to start to choose to do will help us to express more or less health. More or less health. It's not like one day, all of a sudden, we started developing symptoms. That never happens. It never happens. What happens is that we drop our health bar, and as we continue to let ourselves drop down that line, either we start slowly letting our diet slip, or we start slowly letting our exercise routine slip, or we start slowly stressing ourselves out more and more and more and more, until it gets to a point where our body can no longer cope. And this is where symptoms and disease starts to manifest. What we know to be true is that those people that are socially isolated and more stressed are more likely to suffer from things like heart disease, cancer, diabetes, etc. in the same way that our bodies are more likely to develop these diseases if we do not stay physically active and look after an adequate diet. So the truth is that the reason why they define health as complete physical, mental and social well-being is that it is not only, and we'll all know someone, by the way, we'll all know someone that appeared very, very healthy physically, yet they still developed something like heart disease, cancer, diabetes, etc. Why? Well, because that person can still stress their body out, despite the fact that they look fit. They can still be damaging their bodies on the inside by the chemicals that they're consuming in their food or in their cosmetics, or the types of stress that they're putting on your body. Now, if someone is physically fit, they're going to the gym every single day, but they live on their own and they never get to socially interact, their mental well-being is going to start being affected. And as a result, what we can start to see is people's stress hormones, especially things like adrenaline and cortisol, will start to rise. And as those hormones start to rise, what it starts to do is change the chemical processes within our body. It changes our chemistry. Now, what we know is that as we change chemistry, our cells will start to respond differently, and not always in a good way. And one of the main things that we can see specifically when people are stressed under long periods of time is inflammation starts to go up. And whether that's physical stress, chemical stress, or emotional stress, inflammation starts to go up, our immune system's function starts to go down, and our ability to heal injuries starts to go down. And over time, what we'll start to get into is a bit of a spiral of falling further and further down. So what do drug companies do? They produce a drug that balances out this chemical process. It allows us to live in that poor state for an extended period of time until that drug no longer has the effect, because we keep spiraling down and down and down. Which is why drugs will initially work, and they're great as a short-term management for managing symptoms. But if we do not address the thing that was causing people to get to that point in the first place, that person is going to continue to drop down in their health status. It's as simple as that. So when you're looking at trying to improve on your health, there are three arms that you always want to be looking at. The physical, How much exercise are you doing? What are you doing as far as looking after your posture is concerned? How are you looking after your muscles, your joints, your nerves, etc.? How do you actually stimulate and keep those structures working properly? Mental. What are you doing? Are you stimulating your brain? Are you actually challenging yourself? Are you exerting yourself? Have you got work that keeps you interested? Social. Are you mixing with people, or at least communicating with people, spending time with your spouses, partners, other people? And I know this is the one that's the biggest at the moment, which is why we're seeing such a deficit in people's mental health right now, because social interaction is essential. And for those that are completely socially isolated, they have recommended that you can still see an individual friend or family member. Why? Well, because we know that people that are in long-term social isolation will start to increase their risks of stuff like I said, heart disease, diabetes, cancers. We don't know exactly why, not yet, but we know that happens. So, like I say, I'm always very passionate about trying to encourage people, because I unfortunately had to go through the experience with my mum of watching her develop cancer, despite the fact that we all around us thought that she was a healthy individual. But over time, these same kinds of process manifested, and look where it got her. So, if you ever have any questions about this stuff, I'm super comfortable to talk about it, because it really interests me how much our lifestyles affect our health. Patrick here from Complete Health. Just wanted to send a super good day for you all. And I will speak to you again over the weekend. It is Friday, so I should imagine the majority of you will be heading into your weekend now. For those of you that don't already know, we have a free spinal screening on at the weekend. So if you know anyone, we've got a last few sets of tickets that we can actually have available for Sunday. So if you know anyone that wants to jump on that, the tickets are on Eventbrite for Complete Health as a free spinal screening, so that they can see what is going on with their health. Patrick here from Complete Health, and I'll speak to you guys again soon. Take care for now.